The American theater troupe The Civilians has created a rendering of the historical events of the 1871 Paris Commune. Through song, dance, and a large tapestry of characters, Paris Commune reflects the troupe's wish to support and develop a new theater, dealing with the most vital questions of the present. Canapé joins in the revolution at the Brooklyn Academy of Music.
Right now, imagine it happening today, the liberation of the poor. Now first you think, an end to misery, an end to exploitation, dignity for all people. As soon as that thought hops through your synapses, on its heels comes this one. It's impossible. Am I right? Of course I am. So really, you don't know this idea of liberation. What you know is a wish. Not so with the Paris Commune.
But in the end...
We're not at the end, are we? We are at the beginning!
Yeah, but...
This is not a story about failure.
In our play, I think the baker and the seamstress, my wife, are kind of every man and every woman. And as far as their journey through the show, they get used by other forces, by the provisional government. They're listening and trying to make sense of what President Thiers is saying. And it sounds good. It sounds like they're going to protect us. It sounds like, you know, just be patient and let the government do its job. But then there are radicals who pull them in the other direction, which is, no, our children are starving. This government is obviously corrupt and making deals with an invading force.
Is the first revolution, certainly in European history, where women really take the front lines of the revolution, are really integral in informing the way this new society will be. Louise Michel and the Union of Women, Elizabeth Dmitrieff bringing in Karl Marx's teaching.
And finally, my character arrives in our play. She's a young Russian woman, Elizabeth Dmitrieff. Not her real name, but, well, an alias is necessary for a revolutionary.
It wasn't necessarily a conscious choice when we started that we were going to center so much of the play on Elizabeth Dmitrieff and on Louise Michel, and but they're both such compelling characters.
And so here she is. Here is Louise Michel. She writes about herself in the third person a lot, so don't be confused.
I think we say it in the play, Louise Michel says it. We want the same thing for the workers. We do. We want better conditions, we want rights, we want better lives, a better quality of life for the workers. We both want the same thing, but we both see achieving that by very different means. And Elizabeth Dmitrieff is more of, you have to have force and authority in order to control these things. Otherwise, they'll just take over. And Louise Michel is coming from the point of view, well, if you have force and authority, then it's going to turn into terror. It always does.
Paris needs to act with force, leadership, and authority.
Whoa, whoa. Authority?
Yeah.
Well, isn't the whole point of the commune that it will be different? I think sure, Louise Michel says too that the commune it should be prepared to fight, to defend itself, and Louise Michel, yes, she's prepared to fight and die, even, but for liberation, which I think is by definition the opposite of authority, yes?
How does La Commune exist if they do not enforce their desires? How do you apply force to idealism? You know, how force and authority kind of go together. And there's a moment in the play where you see force and authority is kind of a toxic mix. It's very difficult to...
for terror.
Yeah, a recipe for terror. It's very difficult to remove power from force and authority when they get together.
Oh, you are brave. If you are hungry, then you eat. You do not wish to be a slave, nor to be pulled down by defeat. Oh, this is right and manly too. But if you kill me, oh my friend, you'll be a beast caged in a zoo. Do you want to be like them? understand my logic. Well, long live the Republic!
You realize a revolution is not just a piece of history, it's people. You know, it's real lives, it's real people. And I think that's what the story we're trying to tell here is that there were actually real people behind this who were really trying to do something to make their lives better. And it got crushed.
You know, I think theater is not necessarily about the gift of the voice, at least in my opinion. It's about inspiring the question in the audience.
My theater company did a project about Occupy over the course of the past year and did a lot of interviews with people involved in that. And, you know, so much of what was contentious in the Commune was the exact same questions were coming up in Occupy.
What do you do? What do you think about these questions? You know, it should inspire. It shouldn't only restore. It should also inspire. Yeah.
I think the idea that I want to have the audience leave the theater with is this recognition that it is an ongoing story. Like, there is no end point to society.
Typically, the grand finale of Can-Can, it just keeps going and going and going and going. It's
Can-Can's the first dance where individuals danced as individuals. It's not really a dance for couples, it's a dance where every single person dances, and yet, in the Can-Can line, in these amazing pictures that it creates, they dance together. So it's about people dancing as individuals, but together, which is probably the best metaphor for the Commune that I can come up with.